Molds 101. Yeah, I'm just as dumb as last time. Okay, you'll see I've got a whole bunch of molds, and there's a whole bunch of ways you can make molds. So today's going to be basically a really quick, this is the kinds of molds that we make at Missing Finger Productions. And remember that each mold is completely independent to each piece. Yes. Okay, so we've got block molds. These are all block molds. Block molds are expensive. If you look at my shelf of molds, that's a lot of molds. And I probably shouldn't have turned the camera, sorry. If you look at my shelf of molds, you're going to see not a lot of block molds because they're really expensive. Okay, just to show you, and I've got this all set up, kind of. This big, heavy block mold, and it's a lot, makes this mask right here. Okay, and if you're looking at this mask and this mask, obviously the one on the that I'm holding in my hand is bigger. Okay, on the left, it's bigger. So I did this because I kept having problems and I got frustrated and I just said screw it. But I made this one, okay, and it's a Shore 20 Moldstar product because I kept having problems with the mother and master slipping, and it was just a pain in the butt. So I had made that. But I also, this is the mold, see here, for the other mask. This is about $100 and something, about $150 actually, and then this one's about 60 bucks, okay? And that's a bigger mask. That's why I do brush-on molds. Yeah, people ask me,
why do you do brush-on molds, Mr. Cook?
well, that's why. I save lots of money. Okay, notice I got a foam backer here, and that clamps into the mask mold there. Really, the sky's the limit. Molding can be as creative as you want it to be. I mean, all of these work. All of these molds you see are functional molds. If they weren't, they'd already been thrown away. So, me personally, with my block molds, a lot of people don't. A block mold's called a block mold because it looks like a block. But I take, for silicone block molds, I take this little bit of 7mm Luan. So I get even distribution when I put a little strap around it. You can do one piece block mold, so it still has my block form, but I slit it open, and that's how I get my little teeth out for my reptile silicone mask. Okay. Now, when you're going to make a brush-on mold, so those were block-on, these are molds that you pour in. If you're going to make a brush-on mold, which 98% probably of our molds are brush-on molds. So this is one I'm working on right now. You brush it on with, we use Rebound 25 from Smooth On. We use Thyvex once to add the thickness to the silicone, so it saves time. It's for subsequent layers. And in between each layer, we use the original pink color, and then I add this silicone pigment, Silk Pig Blue, so that I can ensure that I got even coverage. So we have the pink was the first layer, and then the blue is the second layer. And with that blue, I know, hey, I've got crap everywhere. The silicone's everywhere, and I don't really have to worry about, am I going to have a ripping spot later on in the process. If you're going to use brush-on molds, you have to have a mother mold, okay? That mother mold, I'll just walk back here. This mother mold is made of epoxy, right there, okay? The mother mold's over here. This mother mold is made of foam, all right? And you'll see those little circles. I'm going to explain those in a second. But this mother mold's made of foam, okay? I don't remember which rigid foam. It's made by Reynolds. Most of our stuff is Reynolds products. We use industrial polymers, and we use Monster Makers, and we don't really, pretty much industrial polymers and Reynolds and Monster Makers is where we're at. But these little things here, little circles, those are called registration keys. They ensure that it locks up into those holes the same way in the same spot every time, so I don't have a weird casting. I do the same thing. Like you can make registration keys however you want. I use this was done by a screwdriver. That's done by a sculpting tool. This one's got like huge, like little clay forms, and that's how I'm gonna start doing my silicone mold mask for registration keys, because it's rigid. Like this is a silicone mask mold right here. You can make a silicone mask and pour it out of a silicone mold if you want. That's totally fine. We don't do that. And here's just another example of, you know, just the registration keys in a different skull mold. This is a 2-part brush-on mold, and you've got a reason why you do this. A 2-part mold is going to give you a smaller opening, a smaller cavity for you to pour your liquid in and get your air out. And that's good because you get more of the product and less open space. So like this was a glove mold, which means you put silicone over the entire thing and there's no 2-part to it. But see that giant hole right there? And you need that giant hole to pry it off of the piece. You can make it smaller and then cut it. I don't suggest doing that. We usually get way less castings out of it. If you want to do a mold like that and cut it, I would suggest doing what we do, which is making a 2-part mold. And you have a seam, but you're gonna have a seam if you cut it. This is another glove mold right here. Okay, this is a Rebound 25. Most all of our brush-ons are Rebound 25. And then this is Dragon Skin 10 as a latch key. The latch key is gonna hook into my mother mold, and you can see the lump right here. There's my latch key there. And that's gonna take that open space and keep it locked in so it doesn't flip-flop around while I'm rotocasting it. Mother molds continued. You can make mother molds out of, here's some open face one part molds, and you can make them out of foam. Again, this is gypsum or plaster right there, reinforced with burlap. So it's kind of, every mold is, as you've already seen, every mold I make is pretty much specific to that piece in the way that we make it. We've become very used to making skull molds because we have several skulls, and we've kind of gotten a habit of making them the same way every time. But each piece is gonna be a different, it's gonna be its own monster, it's gonna be its own animal, I guess. I think that covers it. You've got open face molds, we got mother molds, right? We got block molds, we've got, you know, hard molds. The big thing is registration keys. Registration keys lock your molds in the same spot. If you don't have those and you just have a flat piece of clay, it's gonna slip on you. One thing that Missing Finger Productions does is we bolt our molds together. See, we bolt them together with 1/4-inch bolts. We do that because now we know I've got an even seal all the way around the mold. I can take it with these bars and I can put it into my rotocast machine that I built. I didn't buy that, I built it. And it'll do all the work for me. And I know it's gonna work because I've already done molds that way. If I had done it with a ratchet strap, I would have no way to get it into my machine. I would have no way to rotocast it. I'd have to do it by hand. It would be horrible. Because trust me, some of my older molds that have worn out are like that. And just, I was dumb when I first started. Molds wear out. Okay, if you think they're gonna last forever, they're not. They wear out. They do. So you want to do a good job when you're molding, because the better job you do when you're molding, the more casts you're going to get out of it. And that's the ultimate goal, whether you're a home hunter or a business, is to get more casts out of it. So I think that's kind of it for silicone molding. Our next video, I don't know when it's going to be, but I'm going to go ahead and once I finish sculpting the pumpkin, I'm going to have it on my molding table, and I'm going to be showing you how to do, well, I'm just going to be showing you how we do a glove mold and a 2-part mold. All right?